Bit surprised that they would pick it up that early necessarily. I'm not sure if it's something that mousesports would have immediately banned, but this sort of gives mousesports a lot of information already. These are the two supports, none of which have like a super good disable or any at all. I mean, you have the Clockwork Hookshot and then the cogs. That's basically it. So this gives mousesports a lot of information.
10 seconds remaining.
Not necessarily though, because the Boogie has played Clockwork before the Penta.
Yeah, true, for sure.
Yeah.
But even then, I think I'm not sure you're necessarily scared of a Clockwork offlane at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, Shadow Shaman isn't actually that good of a hero against the Clockwork in the lane, but still, yeah, there's lots of ways to deal with the Clockwork in the offlane. So I don't think you'd be scared of that. And I mean, yeah, you do have a point. You do have a point that could technically still run into the offlane. It seems very supporty to me.
Yep. Well, we'll find out here. Mousesports with the only Tidehunter pick as well. Last time Penta was up against that was, I believe, against Team Doggy, but in that game they also had the Razor, just sent him in the safe lane 1v1 essentially for the most part. They're able to get quite a lot despite the Tidehunter being, who can be quite annoying just with the Kraken Shell being able to stay alive. And the Anchor Smash, particularly useful against melee heroes, obviously, to just try and limit that last potential even further. But picking that this early on means that Penta can start to look for perhaps a ranged core to at least deal with that particular part. A little hard to zone out here, especially after he gets a couple of levels. And even then, we talked about the last game briefly, last draft, that you can go back, farm up these ancient camps even, not just normal jungle camps, if you have like level 5 at least, or level 4.
For sure. Still a beast nest in the pool. Just realized that.
Definitely Night Stalker and Tiny even.
Yeah, Tiny's a good pickup actually. I think Tiny's always a good pickup. The tree change made it possible for him to farm ancients very early on, or just stacks in general. Something that he couldn't really do before until he had an axe. So it accelerates his farm a lot and makes him a very potent hero earlier in the game than before. It's also a very annoying hero to deal with. You know, you have a lot of gank potential with him as well. It's not easy to kill here, not with the status resistance being a thing. So against the Shadow Shaman and the Titan, it would actually be a good pick.
Oh,
and now they have somebody to give him extra cleave. That's a good Tiny game for now, anyway.
Can definitely still see Lifestealer though, which would be a bit more of a classic for Penta. I don't believe I've seen him play too much Tiny actually. But I've seen the Oliver Lifestealer, which also goes for his very cost-effective build, Phase Boots into Solar Crests for the easy minus armor, into that Radiance. That's a bit of a signature for him. And add the Magnus on top of that. Clockwork already is a bit of a carrier. Magnus once he gets Blink Dagger too. Could be quite scary and super useful as well against the Shadow Shaman if you manage to time your Rage. Tidehunter as well, you can dodge the Ravage for the most part, and even Conquer. You're not really worried about the Axe and Torrent combo.
This is not a bad Conquer game. He mitigates a lot of the damage coming out from Penta with his boat or with the Cocoa Rum, and they don't really have I guess if I had to describe their damage, it would be more bursty right now, more so than over time. I mean, obviously the Drusa does damage over time with her with her attacks, but there's the spells are mostly burst damage, and the Cocoa Rum definitely, or the what's it called? I don't even know what it's officially called. But the rum definitely makes it mitigates a lot of that damage, and I wonder if it's just one of Comment's like signature heroes, or like one of the few heroes he feels really comfortable with on the support position. So whatever. Either way, even in the early games, there's a lot of pickup potential on the Magnus as well. Obviously, not being able to skewer out, and in the last game, I think a lot of gangs were really spoiled by that Omni Knight. With the repel on top of the X mark. And that is not going to be the case in this game anymore. They don't really have anything to deal with that X mark. So there's a lot of gang potential, or there's more gang potential for mousesports now in this game. Although, as I say that, they don't really have good ganking heroes necessarily. Their burst damage right now is the Shadow Demon Not the Shadowing, the Shadow Shaman
Shock.
and the the Ether Shock and the Death Prophet. So that's about it. It's still
really the
sustainable
best.
damage, yeah, and they have like a lot of good team fights, you know, with the Ravage and the Boat. But yeah, that's about it.
The only real
Weaver is
sustained
definitely
damage.
the much needed physical damage.
Exactly, yeah. The only real sustained damage that they would have beyond this these couple of nukes would be from Death Prophet Exorcism that relies on her being able to stay alive, which she very well might, as said, with the Rum buff also helping out in that regard. Eventually gonna get yourself a Heal Scepter, the Spirit Siphon in general can be quite nice, but there's still potential for Penta burst down, especially with the Ursa now coming in as that melee core to be the recipient for the Empower. So Madara also got his work cut out for him here in this game. The only real lockdown that's really effective against him would be the Magnus RP. Eventually 9 maybe gets a Basher or something like that, but don't really care too much about the Medusa. Like, her ultimate will make sure that you have to stay away for a little bit, but don't really be too worried about that. And DNZ, as long as you keep moving, even if you get caught inside the cogs, you should always be able to time lapse out.
This is a really good Weaver game. Yeah, the clockwork is annoying for sure, but outside of the clockwork, there's not really a lot to sort of like mess with the Weaver.
Yeah.
Which is very mobile. Well, he's very mobile.
You can't really itemize against him. Like, you don't really buy orchids or scythes or something.
Yeah.
Again, the Abyssal Blade eventually for the Ursa would be the closest thing.
Prepare for battle.
By that time, you have Lincolns probably.
We shall see. At the same time, you could make almost the same case for 9 in a sense. I mean, yeah, they have the Shadow Shaman, and the X Mark, but that's it really with the Ursa. If he jumps the Shadow Shaman is going to be dead before he turns around.
Yep.
So this could be a really good game for them. Laning wise, I do favor Penta as well, just because they can't really contest this this Ursa in lane, I don't think. Yeah, they have the Tidehunter, but I wouldn't be surprised if they look towards a Tidehunter versus the Magnus in terms of laning stage.
Yep.
Which it can go both ways. Usually you'd think that Tidehunter does really well against melee heroes, and he does. But you know,
yeah, he kind of does it by standing in front and just tanking it to the face, but you can't really do that because every right click that you tank is gonna be stronger and stronger with the Furious Wipes. So if he's in that matchup against the Ursa, it's not really going to work.
Yeah.
Like they.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to sort of like sell this right now. Like they showed the supports top and be like, yeah, hey, this is totally our tri-lane, right? Wink, wink. Just kidding. The Tidehunter's here, which is yeah, they totally expect this. I think. So they have the Ursa top versus the Tidehunter now.
Yep. Walking his way there, but come on, here we'll have to.
I think it would have been in favor for mousesports if they had gotten this Magnus the Tidehunter matchup, but just because the way it is right now, I do favor it Penta wise because the Ursa versus Tidehunter is pretty good. Even especially if he has the Clockwork on top of it. Like Clockwork is so annoying to deal with for any melee hero.
Also holding onto the teleport scroll, so even if mousesports say, alright, we're gonna teleport around, Penta can match it up again here. They're missing out on like 1 or 2 creeps here on these waves. Up on top, DNZ was able to soak that up before 9 got there, but down bottom Boogie, not so lucky he is, and he's not gonna have the best time with Spartan just hanging around in this lane too.
That's just a very annoying lane to deal with, and Boogie shouldn't expect to really see much of anything.
One thing of note here is actually that Oliver is this time picking up the Medusa rather than 9. Which I didn't expect. I thought Oliver was the Ursa player in this relationship. Apparently they feel more comfortable switching heroes. They just don't want Oliver to build a Radiance on that hero. Because you know he would. Well, mid lane Thug. Actually been trouble slowed down by the Lich. DNZ wrapping around. Does have the cogs to catch him in. A couple more right clicks, but no, actually eating his way through with the help of the tower. Thug will be just fine. Will better solve for follow-up damage.
Top lane 9 tried to go aggressive on Skylark. Already forced the self. Also forced the TP from the Shadow Shaman, but he cancelled his TP because he realized that 9 wasn't going to pursue it any further.
Main Boogie actually also runs through quite a bit of region. Not easy to trade against 2 ranged heroes, one of which is a Shadow Shaman with 77 freaking damage, level 1. Still trying to do it, and he does secure the bounty. Will secure both of them actually. Just hilarious.
Really is. There's not much Spartan can do to really punish him. Yeah, they're gonna trade lawsuits here for it, but
oh, DNZ, is he gonna catch the courier? Ah, not quite. They see it in time. We've had quite a few items from coming out for a while though. Like he really wanted that stealth to heal up, but now he can't.
And DNZ's just being a nuisance.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, he could just sit here. Alright, yeah. He's not gonna do it. But there's so much time wasted already for Thug as well. And this Dusa is just getting away with all these last hits. And this is on top of, obviously, you know, a Lich denying those last hits in the first place as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, the one saving grace, I guess actually looking at the top lane, Titan is doing pretty well. Though I do think this is going to get worse over time once he runs out of region.
Yep.
But yeah, the saving grace definitely this Weaver. And Madara has to do a lot in this game for sure.
He's certainly getting all the farm he wants, also quite a few denies under his belt. Will be already level 3, or very close to it anyway. Madara level 4, despite him having Shirt Shaman in this lane for a little bit. It just goes to show the strength of the denies in this patch. And this top lane, both of the supports are rotated up. 9 had a little bit of a 1v1-on-1 time with Skylark, with DNC making that play in mid, just forcing out both Carmen and Spartan to make that rotation mid. Try and deal with them. Now show themselves up.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
I think Thug's actually doing much better in terms of losses than he should be. I mean, he's 14-2 against the Lich Dusa. And he had his self denied for like ever by that Clockwork, so I think he's doing much better than he should be. Obviously, he can get a lot of
Clockwork, but he got this got the Better Assault off. Cox not quite catching anybody in. Spartan still slowed down from Frostblast for a little while longer. Common trying to tank up some of that Better Assault, make sure the Shadow Shaman can walk away. It looks like that'll be enough. Maybe not though, with another Frostblast slowing down Common. Corn will come out and force D&D to make a bit of a sidestep. 9 coming through, but a little bit too late. Next bit of slow from Skylark. Don't chase both of them all the way back to the fountain though. Well, that's a victory in and of itself.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And now, actually, Skylark might have to be careful. There's 2 supports sitting here. I'm not sure they need both supports here, really. And yeah, our man immediately TP's away as well. But yeah, this is good for Penta. They, you know, force out the 2 supports back to the base. This buys a lot of space for these other cores. But as I say that, Boogie obviously, I mean, he's not really getting anything anyway.
Really one issue. I mean, technically can still kind of fall back into jungle if you put extra points in the power, but it's not as easy as it once was, with also the Iron Talon and the Chroma Shield that you go for the lane anyway. Are actually taking quite a bit of damage here going in for the 1 or 2 last hits.
Quite a lot of damage actually. Yeah.
Out of region too. He has the base and plus the stick, the magic wand, amping it up a bit.
Oh, mid lane, they're gonna go into the Dusa.
Oh, we're gonna try Thorn combo. Gonna be enough again. No TP reaction. See if Oliver he will dead. And that's actually gonna be the first blood. Try to go on Skylark at the same time. And Skylark proving to be a bit of a tough nut to crack and still get the kill in the end, but not for the first blood gold. Already went the way of mousesports.
This was a good kill for them. Buys the Death Prophet a lot of time as well, and suddenly she's almost even in terms of last hits, which is kind of crazy. And again, I think this Thug Death Prophet is doing much better than she should be. She should be doing. He should be doing, I guess. And the supports, they might just wrap around for another kill here. The next wave could be it.
Not ready, yeah.
It has been pinged out by somebody. Somebody pinged, yeah, like they're pinging out, like, hey guys.
It's Spartan too. I mean, does have a double damage rune.
It's dead. Dead for sure.
Needs rotation right now, but it's not coming. Unfortunate. Dying twice in a row like that, it's really gonna slow you down quite a bit.
Speaking of dying twice, top lane.
Not this time though. Skylark comes in with Ravage Duck, making a rotation 9. Also all TP out, dodging some of that damage. DNZ does not actually have a TP scroll, so he has to just try and walk his way out of this one. But he really can't with the Spirit Siphon up to level 2, slowing it down quite a bit. Trying to buy time, but eventually should be intercepted.
Bottom lane, they find a kill onto Madara. That's a solo kill as well with the RP.
Oh man, really wants.
Torn is up in 3.
To not let him go, but yeah, he can't.
He's not gonna try it.
I get him.
That's insane.
A lot of action all over the map.
Mousesports. I mean, if they hadn't given away this kill into Weaver, this is a really good early game for them. I mean, it's still a good early game, I'd say. Obviously, you know, we have the Weaver top of net worth. The Death Prophet didn't get trashed at all. I mean, she's almost even in terms of net worth with the Dusa.
Gotta go on mid. Some arm in the stair, but also Madara making that rotation. The refocus on the ledge here is although it's a little bit too far back. I mean, doesn't have a TP this time to get himself out, even if he did. Spartan didn't there to cancel it. So, hey. Easy kill is an easy kill.
I like this movement from Mousesports. They're sort of like punishing the fact that Penta drafted these very greedy supports in a sense, or or rather they're exploiting the fact that these supports are just really weak in terms of countering ganks. I mean, even if the Medusa gets gone on, what do you do? You TP in a Lich? What's he gonna do? He's gonna slow people. That's it. That's literally all he can do. Yeah. The Clockwork, yeah, he could be worth the TP, of course, but you know, once they see him, they know they can go on anybody that's basically not close to the Clockwork effectively. I don't know. This is at the same time, you know, if you're Penta, this is sort of like to be expected. Oh, Boogie might have to. No, he should be fine here with that Skira. Maybe. No, is Madara gonna chase it?
But the stick charges turns around with a little bit of extra damage, and yeah, he's gonna get the kill. Does have the time lapse available as well. That bark, even though level 1, if you have it on you for a long time, armor just gets nibbled away more and more. Meanwhile, up top, those Skylark, Penta, it's a little bit of a path for 9 to get in and finish the kill.
And again, you know, there can be like a solo Weaver can be chasing a Magnus to the tier 2 and they can't punish it.
Barman,
what are they gonna do?
He's dead as well. Yep.
I will say though that I think DMZ should, no, he buys a TP. He should have a TP at all times. Like this Clockwork is the only one that can make rotations in this early stage.
Well, you still have the Ursa, who's farming pretty well. He has some face boots plus a Mortal Mask, almost enough money for Mask and the Skylark. That's another Ravage Show. A couple more TPs coming through. DNZ trying to drop them as they come in, but 9 still in a whole load of trouble, especially if he sees stuck. Also rotating in 4 heroes around him. Try to do what he can, but he will end up falling without recourse.
Good rotation from them. Yep. And I wonder if they maybe group up now and try to take a tower with that first exorcism while the Ursa's dead, but doesn't look like it. Gonna play it safe for now.
The trade-off here, I mean, guess you get kills on these cores all over the map essentially. And Oliver, Penta in general, they need more time now as a result to try and catch up. Oliver, at the very least, and Medusa, we do have that innate farming tool. The split shot being buffed as it was. So you're actually very close to the Weaver in terms of net worth, despite all of this pressure put on top of you. But is he gonna hit the timing where he's very hard to deal with in this game?
To be fair, being close to the Weaver in terms of net worth doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, Oliver had like a really good time farming, but it's also because the Weaver got pressured herself. Like, that's a solo kill from Boogie onto the Weaver. Yep. And Madara has been, you know, I mean, he sort of has to, but he's been bouncing around between lanes trying to help with kills here and there. So it's still good for Penta, obviously, that the Medusa is farming as she is right now, and she's falling back, she's trying to lay low. But it's a bit concerning because if we compare this to the last game, they don't really have a lineup that can fight without the Medusa right now. Or, well, they can fight, but maybe in 5 to 8 minutes from now. Right now, they're not in a fighting position.
Like a couple of Blink Daggers, at the very least, they have the Clockwork Hook Shot, but DNZ continue to farm up top. Letting this tower go, probably for the best here with the Exorcism going as well as this open world. Exorcism wasn't even used.
No, they didn't even need it. Which is a bit, I mean, it's good for Mousesports that they can't take a tower without having to commit Exorcism, but at the same time, how long has Thug been level 6? Oh yeah, I guess he's only been level 6 for a couple of minutes now, but, you know, if he had used it immediately, he would have it available again at this point. That's the point I'm trying to make, you know?
Yeah.
Saving it can be nice, I guess, but, you know, committing it isn't bad either this early on. You kind of want it. It's like a Dragon Form in a sense. Even if you don't get the tower, at least getting it low is also already worth it in a way. And again, it's not like Penta can force a team fight. They don't have those Blink Daggers. They don't have any like big item to sort of intimidate Mousesports in a team fight. And Nine just gets a...
Oh!
Aegis.
That was very quick. Madara
Without RP.
Yeah.
That was a hook shot.
Didn't have a lot of health points left to begin with, I think, so DNZ just came in, they had a bit of burst damage to work with, to throw out. And could get a time lapse off, and that's a bit of a stun duration. Yeah, Penta, they're not completely out of it by any means. Right? They just got Aegis. Was kind of, but just at the very end. Nine able to secure that, sneak it in. And then they kill Madara also. Quite nice, and as a result, now Medusa will be picked off. Not ideal. Just gonna say that all of us are gonna be on top of the world, but hey, Ravage coming through has to be committed as Ursa comes in. I want to try and trade at the very least for Skylark if they can, but Shackles lock him down. Nice skewer though to cancel it into the loving arms of DNZ. With that battery assault going, they will be able to burst down Mon Thugma with the exorcism going on level 1, but they're gonna be able to trigger the Aegis. DNZ up against 2 more heroes. Skylark very low on health, but not low enough. The RP being used. 9 coming right back, and extra spell here with the overpower, able to burst down Thug. Looking for more comment, running away. Skylark still hanging around this general area. So DNZ, both of them very low health, and well, Barrier Assault will not be the victory here, and the X back, and 9 will make sure. Skylark continues to live. Very bold indeed, Madara. Alright. At the time it's available, still trying to fight against 9. Not sure if he can with Spartan. If he gets some extra lockdown in, would have been a kill, but 9 makes it back to his teammates. Very scrappy fight there.
A very scrappy fight, but at the end of the day, that's 3 heroes dead and an Aegis lost for, what, 2 kills?
Yeah.
Definitely a big victory for mousesports there. Getting that Dusa, getting rid of the Aegis this early on is really important as well. Bit of a misplay from Boogie. He skewered in and didn't have enough mana for the RP afterwards. I guess I'm not even sure if he wanted to use the RP at that point, but if he RPs the Death Prophet before she gets Exorcism off, maybe they win that fight.
Yep.
But because the Exorcism goes off, they sort of like have to like run around and try to kite her, basically run away from her. But it just gave them so, like, they took so much damage. Spartan should be fine.
Oh, yeah, wow. Wasn't for comment, he would have died there, but the axe back in the boat and the torrent as well, preventing like 1 or 2 right clicks. Made the difference there. Oh. And slowing down Medusa is going to be key here for mousesports to just keep the momentum going. And then get further and further, but at the same time, Boogie, look at this item progression. Has the Soul Ring for mana sustain, so straight for the blink before the Arcane Boots. Is that available now? Another hookshot in 30 seconds. They're starting to slowly get these kind of tools to give them more abilities to take team fights. 9 picked up his own Blink Dagger a short while ago, even before his own Mask of Mantles as well.
2 Blink Daggers on Penta is definitely really important here. I wouldn't be surprised if they smoked up anytime soon as well. Try and go for a kill here. I mean, even if you commit the RP for 1 or 2 heroes, that's totally fine. You just need to find an opening right now. You can't really rely on mousesports to make the first move, because if they make the first move, it's really difficult to react to it. Because they have a lot of burst potential right now. They have just a lot of burst potential, even if they commit the Ravage for it. You know, you saw how quickly the Dusa died. That was even without Madara, who, by the way, you know, with a mana break and the defusal on top, he's just gonna shred this Medusa.
Oh yeah.
So
is under attack.
This definitely has to be on Penta to try and find an opening to make sure they buy space for the Dusa. Right now, they're sort of, both teams are sort of walking away from one another, trying to look for a kill here. But this is probably a favorable trade for mousesports more so than anything, because if they get control over this jungle, I feel like they just gain more out of it than Penta getting that tower, just because mousesports have all the other tier 1s up still. So even if Penta take this tier 2, access to that dire jungle is still going to be restricted, whereas mousesports taking this one basically means they can own the Radiant jungle.
Yeah, also gonna continue the RP though, onto 3 heroes. The Ravage still comes through the boat to try and turn this around. Skylark still not quite there just yet, but will be caught inside the cogs. DNZ jumps so low though. Thug still in the middle of that with the Exorcism. Madara also continuing with the power of the right clicks. Oliver so low on health, will be run down under his CF4s. And big commitment up the high ground, the blink reveal. Not gonna be enough, and also the lag spike in the middle of that. The worst timing, Madara still continuing forward, and this time might actually be caught out. That's not Shikuchi though.
Nine
And
doesn't
forward,
have TP.
extra right clicks, it's enough, Madara. A little bit too strong comment with the TP out. Will survive and tower, will go down.
9 didn't have a TP in this entire debacle. He had to send the courier out from the side shop to fly him out a TP, and it just if during that fight they have 9, they absolutely destroy mousesports. That was a beautiful RP to set it all up. Mousesports is totally not prepared for it actually, and they were just not able to take advantage of that RP. Like the Dusa right now deals laughable damage. She has a Mask of Madness and a Force Staff. The Force Staff is a defensive item. Mask of Madness is farming if anything.
Bottom with the insta hacks as well as the boat. Once again, keep him alive. Hookshot to follow. Also tanked by Conmans, Spartan. Have his life to thank to him one more time. Another X.
They're gonna lose the clockwork here.
Looks like it here. Thug coming from one side, Skylark from the other. Just gonna leave him to die, but Mouz looking for arm in. Force out, not back to the high ground, but 9 coming back in. Thug will be bursted down instead. Hashtag Jabata does something, what the kids say here. 9 still X back into another torrent. Doesn't have the age to work with Oliver. Nice little ultimate here. Turns a couple of people into stone. Another X just keeps coming out. 9 eventually. Big fuzzy Wuzzy Bear will fall. Oliver has to run away. Look at this mana burn.
They might
Way
have to commit
too
the
much.
RP to keep him alive here. Alright. I thought he could hit another X mark. Bit questionable here from Penta to try and force these kills and force these fights. Yeah, you get the death profit, but still you're fighting next to tier 1 tower. You know, mousesports is already all there, basically, and even if they weren't, they could rotate very easily. Dove very deep for that kill into Shadow Shaman as well. I feel like they just feel under pressure after they lost that bottom engagement effectively, and you know, they lost the tower as well, and they thought to themselves, hey, we have to find something here, but I really don't think that's the way to do it. They should play it a little bit more patiently. They have to do so. They can take as much time as they want to, right? Yep. If this was just an Ursa lineup without the Dusa, I'd say, yeah, I can understand why you feel pressured. But this is a Dusa. I mean, second highest net worth Dusa as well. Yeah. They just really should try and take it a little bit slower. If they do want to force a fight, not next to tier 1, honestly. You can look into the jungle, you can smoke up, maybe. But yeah. Still, if we look at the graphs, it's really not that bad for Penta either. I mean, they're behind by, what, almost 3,000, 2.5, I guess, in terms of net worth. And in terms of experience, they're actually ahead still.
Yeah.
So, Penta should definitely feel content with... but that's one of the things, right? I'm not even sure they are aware that they're actually ahead in terms of experience and only barely behind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it felt to them as if they were behind by a massive margin, just because mousesports still have their tier 1s up. Or I guess, well, they just lost one of them, one of the tier 1s, but yeah. But they still have, you know, the other tier 1s up. They have 2 tier 2s. I think if you're Penta, just feels like you're behind by so much more than you actually are.
It all feeds into this question of momentum, and like Mouz just won a couple of team fights here. They turned around one of your attempts. It definitely feels different here. You don't have access to the same metrics that we as broadcasters have, so also a big part of your experience, that being able to recognize where you actually are in the game. But just looking at the items, just having a feel about how much they farmed, how much gold they've gained from these kind of team fights, and towers going down, where they are in relation to you, and who these heroes are that actually hold the network. Right now, most of it is on Madara as well as Thug, which is ideal for mousesports. In terms of items, it's gonna start to translate as well. Weaver looking for the Desolator after the Fusel Blades. Even more damage output potential there. Death Prophet, well, already has quite a few effective survivability items. So the Yule Scepter, as well as the Force Staff, just being able to get around in team fights and buying a little bit more time for the exorcism as well. Whereas for 9, well, here's his Blink. Now scrambling to try and build that BKB, but it's not quite has that in his inventory just yet.
I like how both teams are pretty much playing the same way. You know, they're playing very much grouped up. They don't try to split as much. Always making sure that the supports are together, that the supports are close to at least one core, and basically behind the Dusa as well. You know, you can see the same on the mousesports side as well. They're always grouped up, making sure they're always sort of around the Death Prophet, and they're never alone really. Because right now, if either team loses, like if anybody gets picked off, that just enables the other team to sort of like get an objective or just get ahead in terms of sort of like map control right now. I think the way things are right now, it's actually still mousesports' favorite. But Penta are doing a good job at avoiding these fights. They just need to prolong the game as much as possible. And if you're mousesports, I mean, there's not really much you can do. You can't really force those fights because Penta's just going to run away. So they're doing the right thing, and they're going to take Roshan.
Big guy back up again. One of these way to take it without committing at least one ultimate. Exorcism was not it. Instead, it's a stubborn Walter Spartan. Children level 1s and the biggest team fight in. Penta didn't know about it. Now they can make a decision. Do they want to fight this? Well, TB1 to top. Looks like it. I'm not sure I agree with that, honestly, but we'll see. It'll come down to the RP. Roshan falling very, very slowly. Thag now opting to use that exorcism. With that, they will get that kill before Penta can get close enough.
It was actually, I'm not sure if this was intended by Penta or not, but the way they TP'd, like very aggressively, it forced mousesports to commit exorcism for that Roshan. Like you pointed out, they didn't want to commit both ultimates for that Roshan, but because Penta TP'd so aggressively, they had to commit the exorcism for them. And now Penta looking for a fight because they know exorcism is down. So this is really smart movement, but the question is, can they pick somebody off? And can they burst them down as well?
Oh! Thag turns around for another Q! Just so random, but so lucky. DNZ misses the hookshot because of it. But no, they will not connect with the smoke gank immediately here. They'll still get the tower, more than likely. All of us still clicking away at it. But yeah, I really like this decision, right? Penta forcing out exorcism. And after Roche, either you group up and push, or you spread out and farm. So they were making this way into the side jungle, which and into these lanes that were being pushed in the bottom and mid.
And they get this tier 2. Mousesports can't even trade at all. You know, the Weaver tried a little bit up top, but I wouldn't be surprised if Penta trying to defend up here, or maybe even try and look for a kill here. But either way, Penta's just doing a really good job at trying to avoid these big fights right now. Because big fights means they're likely going to lose, just because those big ultimates from Mousesports are very intimidating. And just farm up all over. Honestly, you have a Dusa. Just play the Dusa game. Just play the Dusa game. Stretch out the game as long as possible. Wait until she's 6 slotted, and that's totally fine.
Although earlier he had the he's just switching between item preferences. Earlier he had the Solar Crest queued up, which is like the one item that he loves more than Radiance, I feel like. Then he had the Skadi, now to the Butterfly. So what item do you think he actually needs next to be like most cost efficient?
Let's just put it this way: if I'm Armin, or if let's just say I'm the team captain, and I see my carry like in this kind of game, 25 minutes in, queuing up a Solar Crest, I flame the shit out of him. I definitely like the Battle Fury, the Butterfly build, just because, you know, it mitigates a lot of the damage coming out from the Weaver. Weavers would be forced to build an MKB, which he would have done anyway at some point, but still. It also adds a lot of movement speed, actually, and it's kind of nice to transition from camp to camp with a Flutter. Accelerates the farm a lot. Skadi is sort of nice to survive the initial onslaught, but I feel like, yeah, you survive the initial onslaught, but you don't deal any damage afterwards, so what's the point? The Butterfly adds a lot of survivability already as well with the armor and the evasion, so I feel like that should be sufficient.
Well, again, the RP will be cancelled. Spartans will still fall. The BKB will keep 9 safe for the Ravage, but they lost Magnus immediately buys back. Thug has an ear disc, actually. He triggers it immediately. Or was being triggered. Madara in front lines has a cheese to work with, still with Aegis in hand. They exchanged one ultimate, 2 ultimates here. Exorcism and Serpent War. They still lose Spartan, force out a buyback. But with the RP factor still on the field, it's actually still good for Penta, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, this was super good for Penta. Because Boogie was about to drop a really bad RP. He would have only gotten 2 heroes, if at all. And that would have been the Shadow Shaman and the Death Prophet, and he would have been immediately stunned afterwards anyway by the Ravage. There was no way he could have skewered them back. So I don't think that RP would have been good. Unfortunately, they do force a unfortunately for Penta, they do force out a buyback from him because he had to. But this buys them so much time. Without Exorcism, there's no way Mousesports are going to commit for another push until that one's up again. And that means that they buy themselves, what, like 2 minutes now of farming, 2 minutes of split pushing at the waves, making sure that if Penta or if Mousesports want to push in again, you make it as difficult as possible. And you now also know that he has an Aeon Disc, so you're not going to try and burst down the Death Prophet anymore.
Yep.
Instead, going to burst on somebody else.
Oh. Who do you burst down? It's gonna have to be the Weaver at this point, right? Because Skylark also has the inbuilds.
If you
the
can,
spell from the
for
Kraken
sure.
Shell. Yeah. Like he's going for a Skadi himself. So
I mean, the support's always nice, you know, making sure they can't get those disables off. Kunka can be really.
Well, we'll see. They still got the RP into 9 coming in. Beyond this, still in cooldown actually for a little while, so they do bursting down. That's the Aegis down for the count. Same for Spartan. Not living too long here, Telltale. Dark coming back, another Eon Disc triggered, and now that's not on the table. DNZ will be the exchange. Scarlet will end up falling, and well, Thug up on the high ground. 9 following me, really wants that kill, and the extra force after slows. Oliver trying to track him down will be enough, only just. Double kill from Madara in the back. They did bring down Boogie, but he already did his job. 9 now he needs to take over. Madara eats the cheese, looking for the turnaround kill, and he gets it too. Triple kill. Small little bug ducks and weaves in and out of these fights. Oliver, no choice but to commit for more. No way out of this one.
Destroyed.
Well, Spartan almost dies. It was for Glimmer Cape, but it does get even the Serpent Wards off into the shackles. Still having some issues trying to eat through Madara, but it will be an ultra kill in the end. Yeah, maybe if it wasn't for the Aegis and that cheese, that fight turns out differently, but mousesports still end up with an enormously good trade, and well, might be able to get something else off of that. 75 seconds on a Medusa. If you, I guess it's still tier 2 mids, you happily give that away in exchange for a buyback. Or holding on to a buyback.
That triple kill from Medusa wouldn't have been possible with the Skadi. Like, going for the butterfly definitely the better choice here. Still, you probably need a defensive item against that Weaver. Some defensive item against the Weaver. It's just so annoying right now with the Diffusing Blade. Yeah. But overall, not that bad of a fight for Penta. I definitely, I'd still say that mousesports come out on top. You know, they get that kill into Medusa, which is really important. They're gonna get a tier 2 out of this as well. And Madara is like a beast, second highest net worth right now.
Again, it's worth remembering that they don't really have the best solutions for him. It's just the RP still at this point. Yeah. And as I said, without these defensive items, like 9. Oh god, there it is. All right, that'll help. Probably delay the push a little bit longer. Oh, hookshot! DNZ, they want more! They find Madara in the side. Ravage coming through to try and turn this around. DNZ will just throw his life away. 9 running in front, doesn't have the BKB still to work with. Now he doesn't fly up against Marala. ERP is gonna be enough though. Doesn't look like it here with Skylark and Thug with the Exorcism. Gonna be able to turn this one around as well. Boogie will fall. RMN next on the list, even with that ultimate. Gonna stop bouncing because of the ults. Not a force stuff away, the spirits will turn around. Same as Thug, but damn, 9 is just. It's just overconfidence, or is it just because they feel like they need to be this aggressive to chase mousesports away?
I think this was overconfidence. This was them thinking, hey, you know, there's like a Weaver. If we RP him, we insta kill him. But they didn't scratch this Weaver at all. That was insane. I didn't actually check, but I wonder if there was just the ghost rum, the boat rum.
Not sure. It's definitely the Skadi as well that he just got.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. He's definitely tanky in general. I mean, he has 2.4k HP and 20 armor.
He's so dead.
Yep.
There's some pepperonis. Armen. Alright, they saw him too. X into boats. Another freebie.
I can't really afford to get picked off like this. This just means they're gonna lose objectives. I'm actually surprised they're not pushing on top. Looks like they want to push out mid here and maybe force the buyback here, but I don't think they can push fast enough for that exorcism to really force the buyback here. I feel like they should have just gotten the tier 2.
Still no RPs on cooldown. No Ursa for the time being. Medusa can kind of fight, but it doesn't have that BKB.
I don't think Penta's gonna give him the buyback here. I don't think they can.
Force be committed. Bottom lane, Madara's there to try and deal with that. Just gonna get the kill on DNZ as it looks like. Yeah. No way around that. Meanwhile, heals on Oliver just being pulled apart, falling into these really bad habits. Buyback still comes out. Also continuing to work away at the main racks. So far, they kept all the buildings alive. Madara with the slow on to 9. He gets X back. Doesn't want to commit the BKB.
And here's the reason why I don't like this buyback is because mousesports can do just like this. They can just fall back a little bit, but they can just go back in again with the exorcism up in 10 seconds.
That as well in 5, so they have everything available. That was not the biggest of deals at this point anyway. Boogie, all that Penta have is that RP, perhaps that Stone Gaze. Haven't seen too much of that. Is well, right now Medusa silenced up, man fighting up against Doug with the exorcism. That is the RP. During back, Ravage is there though to intercept it. Both him and 9, BKB wasn't used immediately, so now sitting there very well. Fuel Scepter will delay this. Another 4-star. Make sure the hookshot messes up all over the zone. BKB now in so he's trying to still get something in. Somehow they do find enough damage for Thug. Spartan TPing out, and the Invis will not be able to make that happen. Narman gives one secure double kill, so somehow Penta still come out ahead of this one. Despite all this kiting, despite all the ultimates being used. Is it just the BKB reveal?
Don't think so. I think part of that is because Weaver is ultimately the only damage dealer on this team right now on mousesports side. I totally overestimated the damage output from Death Prophet really in the Exorcism, because the Exorcism doesn't really scratch the Medusa at all, let alone the Ursa. They could just sit. They were just sitting in the Exorcism really, and they weren't really phased by it at all. So. I guess in the end, the buyback sort of did do something after all, and you know, giving him the cheese makes sure that he can survive the next fight anyway. But yeah, interesting.
Also holding onto Refresher Shard right now. You just keep that on yourself for like double BKB and stuff, or you consider giving it to Medusa?
It doesn't affect the items. So only.
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, wow. No, it doesn't. Only abilities.
I gave it over to Magnus. Makes a lot more sense.
Oh, yeah, double RP.
Yeah,
it's pretty good, especially since it doesn't cost any mana. Or like Refresher Orb is really expensive.
But it says resets cooldown on items and abilities.
I know, but it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
Come on, Volvo.
I'm 100% sure it doesn't.
Alright.
Let me check this now.
It wouldn't be the only tooltip that's wrong, because the Bloodstone tooltip is also just bogus. Says it you start with 16 charges, while it start with 14.
What does Dota Wiki say?
Dire are scanning.
Oh, it does. It does, but I'm pretty sure it... Huh.
It's you that's wrong. It's uncharacteristic.
I mean, what do you even have me on? What kind of...
I know, right?
Holy shit.
It's the last resort because no one else was available, honestly. Kappa. Double damage runes scattered out, and Oliver gonna get his hands on that before Spartan can get close. Let's throw out the Hex, but now Glimmer came. Not enough to keep him safe. First of all, they really want to go. There was a hero there. Not anymore. Oh man, can slow him down further. It'll be big, but throws out the X on 9. Seven Nullify doesn't get it off. BKB a little bit too late actually. The Yules still get the blink off. Conman will fall. It's 2 for the price of 1, and they're the bottom lane kind of pushing in. The flip side is. Middle lane is on their side of the map, same for the top lane. Thugs on one side, DNZ. Caught out by him, but not brought down. Penta, they're actually bearing down bottom lane, they don't care at all. Indeed one has expired, but they're still pretty damn scary at this point. There's a glyph and they're not counter pushing, they're trying to defend this.
Yeah. You saw the Death Prophet mid, you saw the Weaver top. There's the perfect window, time window for really to push here. And I'm not even sure you're really that scared of them coming in here. I mean, you do have the Aegis still. You don't necessarily want to lose it like this, but if you take both racks...
Well, there's the RP. That's the first one anyway. Trying to burst him down. Scala coming through with Ravage. You turn us around. Nullify on Thug. Trying to make that happen, but now they turn things around to the other. Can't get the cheese off. Oliver already respawned with that Aegis. Will finish up the racks. Even committing for range. Not sure what this one. BKB TP, alright. Knowing that they have nothing against that, he'll be absolutely happy. And Boogie still holding on to Refresher Shot. So overall, a worthwhile trade considering that objective. You still hold on to your cheese at the very least. And though you lose Ursa.
I now know why I thought Refresher Shard doesn't refresh items. Because it doesn't refresh Refresh Orb.
Yeah.
I knew there was a restriction. It is, whatever.
Don't be silly indeed, right?
Whatever.
If it
good trade.
Orb.
Good trade for Penta. Yeah, you lose the Aegis. Yeah, you lose the Ursa. But you apply a lot of pressure onto mousesports.
You get the first racks of the game. With all the pressure that mousesports had, with all of this advantage, this momentum, they almost had a 10k, not quite, but like 8k net worth advantage. Experience was at 10k. That's all but evaporated here because of this one failed push in the bottom lane into Roshan, into this force play, this power play even from Penta.
You alleviate a lot of pressure, and that's really important. On this Dusa lineup. Obviously, this game is not over by all means. Like, this could go on for like another 30 minutes, for all we know. But it just buys them a lot of time taking this early racks, and now we have the level 25 Dusa here, you know, with that insane talent. Split shot uses modifiers. That makes fights so much easier, being able to kite around everybody on mousesports side. Helps the Ursa as well.
Slow and 45 attack speed slow, easy.
And the Ursa, finally, he has the nullifier. I've been waiting on this for quite some time now. The nullifier is gonna be really important. Like the mute effect is actually really strong here.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many good items that he can mute.
Especially against the Death Prophet, is considering that Aeon does. This allows you to burst her down like they did before, or like to try to do before anyway.
And I mean, you mentioned it in pretty much every team fight. She gets 4-staffed out, or she can Yules herself. Yeah. Now you can deny that.
Yeah. Or even if she's Yules, you can still use that as a dispel, right? Or you're untargetable.
No, you should. I think it's the same purchase from the Diffusal Blade before. So basically, you should be able to.
Diffusal Blade doesn't do that anymore, so I thought there might have been a different change that buffs the Yules Scepter highly by being untargetable, but might just be my imagination.
It's one of those cases. It's one of those cases. I mean, how many nullifiers have you seen in this so far?
Not too many.
You know, exactly, because nobody built it. Almost nobody built it. Certainly not in the pro scene. Or there's been a couple of cases, obviously, but you know,
it's really good in these kind of situations for these kind of melee heroes who blink in anyway. And if you don't have the Abyssal Blade, you have that instead.
Yeah. And it's really good as well because it's a stat neutral item. Like before, if you wanted the Purge, you had to buy the Diffusal Blade effectively, but obviously that's like very agility heavy, and you know, on a lot of heroes the agility does nothing. Or like basically the strength heroes, you don't want agility really. Not at least not as much. So being able to just buy raw damage like that is really cool and really important for a hero like Ursa as well.
Looking at what, 270, 280 now. Without the with the Empower. That's a cleave that you do. Pretty decent. It looks like he's going straight for Bloodthorn next.
They're gonna find Comment.
Useful. Yeah, he'll die. DNC, short range hook shot. Make that very easily, and yeah, Penta does still continue to be in a really good position. I mean, the bit of damage that Mouz did to the racks when they were pushing in was only to do melee, so that has
oh, Boogie.
Oliver throws on his ultimate though. Trying to catch Madara, this is not really going to happen. And yeah, again, even these Serpent Wards, they only hit the melee racks. RP? What? He felt like I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know either. That was.
Oh, it was time lapse, I think. Yeah, Madara's time lapse and cooldown, so they tried to catch him out.
I mean, yeah. It's worth an attempt, especially since you have the refresher shard anyway.
Yeah,
sure. But and at the same time, it's not like mousesports can really punish it. Oh, RP's on cooldown. Let's just walk down mid.
Yeah.
No, there's still the threat of the Deduce that they just sort of like have to account for. And honestly, the longer the game goes on, I'm not sure how they're gonna deal with this Dusa, because again, Weaver is the only carry or only damage dealer that they have. They're not gonna suddenly turn Tidehunter or Kunkka into like a carry with a Daedalus or something. Yeah, how do they take down the Dusa? That's a really big question. They easy kill with the Weaver, you know, but obviously there's like 4 heroes you have to go through first before you can kill her.
Yep.
And now that she has the BKB, she can always just BKB TP out.
Yeah. The argument that you made earlier. Okay, hookshot down bottom. Onto the Shadow Shaman. Forced that back out though, as he also finds Madara, DNZ.
He's so dead.
Oh, that is... Look at mid for it.
Is he?
Well, has yet to refresh his RP if he wanted to use it. 40 seconds of the cooldowns. It's just worth to just trade the clock hook away. DNZ, sometimes he finds himself in these kind of situations where he just dies time and time again, but at the very least, make a 1-for-1 trade out of it. mousesports still cannot get anything else off of that, really.
You know what? What I really dislike about Nullifier? That it's a projectile, that it flies around instead of like being an instant cast.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to get changed, because, again, there's not a lot of people that buy this item, especially at a pro level. Even though, theoretically speaking, it provides a lot of value, of course. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe at some point Icework says, you know what, this is going to be like an Abyssal Blade type item. You just click on it and it's going to work.
But no, the argument is, at the very least you also have that range, so it could even be useful for ranged heroes. Kind of work with, but also kind of limited in that regard. They'll have to get close.
There's a lot, or maybe even speed up the projectile or something. I don't know. But right now, there's a lot of ways to dodge it. I mean, you saw the Weaver just now. He time lapsed and then immediately was nullified. I mean, the nullified projectile didn't even hit him in time.
Yep.
Not that it would have changed anything. But still.
Well, Roshan back up. Second refresher shot potentially here for Penta, unless they get contested. They have a DD on Medusa plus Empower. So Oliver can slowly but surely solo this, especially with the Serpent Wards helping out. Not really here because probably going to be focused on Oliver. But setting up for the rest of Mouz. Skylar coming through with the Ravage early on, trying to bring down Boogie. Pops the BKB, though, skewers Skylar all the way up to the top. And Thug, he's being stunned up, cannot really make use of that access. And Skylar with a second Ravage to the refresher, but it's not really doing too much. 9 and over with BKB, and there it is. One Ravage, one RP, second one ready to go, and he messes it up. Can't quite get the blink off onto Thug here. Was cancelled by the RP, but Penta still running him down. Oliver will force her forward. The Hex, the Shackles. He is trying to scramble away. It looks like they're starting to put some distance into them. But Medusa, he wants it. Can't quite get it onto Thug, but does get one right click off on the Spartan. Extra vision from the Rocket. Oliver on a dominating spree. And hey, doesn't matter that you messed up that second RP because you get another free refresher shot. Because they can turn around, finish up Roshan. Penta, this resilience that they have. They're the team that doesn't give up. You give them an inch, well, gonna take that another couple of miles for good measure, and gonna be running down your mid lane when they feel like they have a chance, and this is it right now. They will figure out that Weaver doesn't actually have buyback.
Well, let's see if they can figure it out, because their creeper is still very far behind, so this backdoor region is gonna be a pain in the butt. And
well, even then, like, you know, Exorcism isn't cooldown. DP doesn't have refresher.
That's true.
There was refresher reveal from Titan as well, but
double Ravage is down.
Double Ravage is down. Didn't do anything in that fight, so Penta can still feel very comfortable making these kind of plays. We'll secure this middle set of racks. Glyph delays a little bit further. Oliver still even has to choose and the BKB. Like, even care at this point. As you said, where's the damage? Well? Back to region kicking back in, but well, they are not spending a lot of time for the range tracks. They don't care about that one. Instead, going back here could pick up shrines, farm up the jungle, set up for top lane. Someone's gonna have to take care of the creep wave. Penta, all of a sudden, once again, they're back in complete control of this game.
Well, this just goes back to sort of like the one fight bottom, where they were unable to strike and where Penta were able to, you know, pretty much for the first time in the game, pull ahead. But in general, Penta just did a really good job in the mid game to sort of like slow down the pace and trying to avoid as many fights as possible. And for mousesports, again, I think it comes down both to the draft, but also the way they've been playing. You know, the draft sort of doesn't really allow them to take these fights in this late game against the Dusa. What did they do against the BKB Dusa? The Ravage did, I think the second Ravage didn't even connect because she had the BKB on. The Exorcism tickled her, if at all. And then Weaver, yeah, Weaver does a lot of damage, but Weaver can't really get in range when there's like 3 heroes guarding the Dusa, effectively. Like, Boogie was just waiting for with his RP just to hit the Weaver. He could have doubled RP'd actually the Tide Hunter and the Death Prophet, but he knew if he RP's there, that gives Weaver almost a free pass, and he was like, no way.
Walk across here, I believe they scaled out Conman. They're waiting for someone else to come back into this lane. Oh yeah, that is now as he walks in. Some of his team, Madara still down bottom, taking the creep wave all the way down there, but mid lane is all you need to just disable backdoor and do whatever you want. With the buyback force out already, they will not really commit. Penta know they have all the time in the world now. They got to this point where Medusa is almost impossible to deal with. Satanic now, this last big item that he picked up with 5k extra gold in the bank. He's like, what, 4 lives or something? Cheese, the Satanic, the buyback TP in. Oh man,
mousesports. It's not an easy game to take. They need to find a perfect pick off, really. But it's difficult because Penta, look at them, they're just running around S4, S5. They just don't really want to give mousesports an opening, and mousesports, I'm not even sure how they can really kill this Dusa. even if they find the double ravage on top of her, keep her in perfect lockdown, and let's just imagine that Boogie doesn't drop an RP if all of mousesports are grouped up around Medusa, right?
Yeah.
Let's just imagine that. Can they kill her in time for like Ursa, and then later on Boogie not to just wreak havoc on mousesports?
It would require Thug sitting right next to him with the exorcism going, as well as Weaver right-clicking throughout all of that. And maybe, I mean, you do have MKB on him, so that butterfly is not really providing you a lot of survivability in terms of evasion. Still gives her that armor, of course, to work with.
Honestly, the best scenario would be probably to take down the Magnus first, and then negate the entire RP, or like remove it out of the equation.
I think you might have done the plan last time and just pop the BKB and quite have that potential either.
Look at how much damage Oliver took. I mean, he's almost all of his mana is gone just with this Weaver.
Oh,
Scala comes in. There it is. Ravage number 1. Ravage number 2 is available, but 9 pops the BKB. Mute onto Weaver. The RP will whiff because he's already dead. Buys back though. Oliver still sitting in the middle of that with his ultimate, right-clicking away, and Death Prophet turned to stone. Gets the ult off after all. 9 out of BKB. Does still have the Aegis to work with. There's his second RP. Oliver eats the cheese. Boogie will fall. That exorcism, well, does do a little bit of work against him anyway. But Oliver still the big one. 9 coming back into it. Another nullifier on top of the Weaver. He cannot get out of this one. And that is a dieback on Madara. Oliver still standing 9. Well, he has to buy back himself. Doesn't actually have Boots of Trouble, so he'll have to do the long walk with the face boots and a blink dagger. But there's another one onto Boogie. They want to end this game right now and force out the GG. They realize without Madara, no way the mousesports can fight this. As a result, they will drop out of the Galaxy Battles EU qualifiers after winning the upper bracket series against Penta. They come back, swing around here. They beat Team Doggy in the lower bracket. And they took the momentum into the finals. 2-0ing mousesports. That is an achievement in its own right.
9 completely punishing Madara for not building a single defensive item.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue that Scott